So why don't we get back to it? Although this time I'm rocking some lemon lime. Heck yeah. So we had a very good recap. I don't know if Dreaded is still here, but all the same, to those of you who came over in the raid, thank you for doing so. And let's continue as we're getting into the mechanics of things. So far, given what we know, the enemies, the adversaries, are, as you'd expect, to be written out for a system here. And let's get into environments, which I said was something that is woefully underused, anecdotally, woefully underused by many storytellers, is just what can the environment itself offer besides, you know, oh, you're in a cave or you're in the woods. Is there really any different? Is it a backdrop, or can it be a participant in the story as well? Environments represent everything in a scene that is not the PCs or the adversaries, from the physical elements of the space to background characters and forces of nature. Much like adversaries, each environment has a stat block that provides a framework for influencing the PCs and the wider scene. These aren't restricted to combat. You can use adversary stat blocks to enhance any scene, from festive galas to crumbling ruins. Environments and adversaries are built to interact and support one another, both mechanically and narratively. Environments can represent creatures such as supporting cast and groups, who are present in the background of a scene but don't need specific adversary stat blocks. Environments can also represent other aspects of the world, such as a dangerous landscape, a damp dungeon, or a noble's court. This section describes how to use each environment stat block, while Chapter 3 presents general rules on running combat and tying these scenes into the larger story. Finally, the environment stat block section at the end of this chapter presents examples of environments grouped by tier to represent their general threat level. Daggerheart is a fantasy tabletop role-playing game similar to D&D. But it is, in my opinion, not meant to compete against D&D. It is not a D&D killer either. This is its own thing of bright, shiny adventure around every corner on the horizon. It's Saturday morning cartoon fantasy adventures. The super duper duper short of it, Uncivil. Homebrew feel? You're encouraged to be creative, but there's a lot of things that are contained inside the system rule-wise. You could homebrew anything, so that's the ultimate caveat to all of this. And the passive writing of this does convey that as well. You know, you're welcome to be creative and tell a story. So this isn't homebrew in that it's like, you know, fly by the seat of your pants. Everything is sort of like safe. Like things are just built into safe areas, like safe clusters and safe zones. That you're free to walk about inside, and then you move on from one safe area to the next safe area. Kind of a thing. That's probably not doing it justice. It just has a feel of short form play, and everyone is obviously an adventure in a Saturday morning fantasy cartoon. So let's look at the baronial court. The bustling court of the Baron, lavishly decorated with tapestries, crystal goblets, and attendees dressed in finery. Gives you a recommendation for the tone and feel, playfully yet tense, rich with the smell of food, perfume, and wine. A PC may gain advantage on a presence roll by offering or cashing in a favor. By the way, this is why you get video game feel. Like, you're in a location. You can interact with that location in these ways. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because some people might want that video game style feel. It just, it feels jarring to someone like me to have this be a written out Like, seeing this written out as a set of overt prompts or permission to feel feelings or engage with things, it's sort of like canned laughter or an audience prompt of going or boo, you know, like I'm sure that this can work and this is cool. And for all I know, this is absolutely balanced, quote unquote, for whatever this needs to be. That's why I say that this is a game that is not meant for me to play. I don't... When I talk about using the environment, I mean, here's a list of, I guess, things that can happen, but there's mechanics that are tied to it. And I really have other things I want to do with my time other than constrict environments and characters to boxes of prompts. So let's continue going through. A PC may gain advantage in a presence roll by offering or cashing in a favor. If the PC fails to deliver on repaying a favor from this feature, the GM takes 2 fear. When a character fails a presence roll of fear, they must mark stress as their failure becomes... Hey, thank you very much, Uncivil. Must mark their stress as their failure becomes the hot gossip for the evening. An NPC, adversary or not, previously known to the party, appears at court with an agenda. And so here's other prompts too. How is the story of what happened distorted in the process of becoming gossip? Who tries to take advantage of the PC's social weakness? Framed. Spend a fear to have a prominent member of the court frame a PC for a crime, real or imagined. Proving their innocence requires completing a progress countdown. And there's a whole section on countdowns above. Hey, Brewfrost! Yeah! 10 months! Alright, so the child was baking in the oven for a little bit longer, but sometimes you need to adjust the settings of your 3D printer. Sometimes you need that longer amount. Hi, Brewfrost. Thank you for joining. Environment's type appears immediately. Each environment is designed to challenge PCs of a certain tier. You can use stat blocks from other tiers, but you may want to adjust their statistics. Evocative, online, blah, blah, blah. Emotional notes the GM can highlight to enhance the environment's impact, plus sensory details to share when describing a scene. The baronial court has a mood that is playfully yet tense. It is rich with the smell of food, perfume, and wine. Baronial court is difficulty 12, which provides a baseline for action rolls made to directly oppose the elements of this environment. Individual adversaries appearing in the environment may have other difficulties. Many environments suggest specific adversaries that commonly appear in scenes with that environment. Not every listed adversary needs to appear in an environment, and you're free to use others instead. Features provide you inspiration for GM moves that represent the dynamic environment. Features are denoted as either an action, which means you must spend a token on the action tracker to use it, a passive, which means it always applies and doesn't require a token to activate, or a reaction, which means you can respond to the specified trigger without requiring a GM move or action token. Many environment features are unique to the stat block, but others are common across multiple stat blocks. Feature questions, prompts to get questions asked at the table to build the scene a little bit more and customize it. Environments by tier. And so here you go. You can just see an entire list of them here. You can go over them yourself. I'm not worried about that. I mean, this is sort of like a table where, I don't know, you're playing Final Fantasy. The glass breaks, and then we drop from the overworld map to a battle scene, and a random pool of enemies could be pulled together. Doesn't have to. I'm not saying that this forces that, but a kind of a feel, right? What can exist? It's prompting you to sort of segment or segregate things into consumable units of boxed things happening. It feels like it's made to help a GM that doesn't GM. Maybe, yeah, Uncivil. This is a role-playing game for newcomers, for newbies, people who've probably never played a TTRPG before, have only ever played board games or maybe like card games, Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh or something. A lot of how this is written is it's written in a behavioral manner, manual style, like a teacher being told how to offer positive correction to unruly students with modern sensibilities, as well as like an acting 101 book of prompts. None of those are bad things. It's just, it's certainly different than, than I'm used to seeing a lot of other books and such, but that's probably because I don't look at books that are meant for hybrid games like this, or games that are very clearly meant to have newcomers play for short-term, very shiny, explosive games. No, you're fine, Uncivil. You're perfectly fine. And if your instincts are there, then that's what I've picked up from it as well. So, things you can do in environments, prompts to think about. Hi, Hunter. Chapter 5, Creating Your World. If you want to run a one-shot, a short adventure that only spans 1 or 2 sessions, you can use the guide below to build out a quick collaborative session with your players. First, begin to read the prologue aloud, and when you reach a blank, have a player fill in the answer using one of the available options. Move around the table, having players make decisions until all the blanks are filled. Then read the completed prologue to the table. Feel free to ask additional questions, clarify ideas, and expand upon the information until you all feel comfortable moving forward. So, team building, prompt vocalization exercises. Like I said, like acting 101 kind of a thing. Now that you know where you're beginning your story, follow the same process for the adventure. After last night's blank, many here have blank. This morning, we found out that the events of the previous evening blank. We know to fix this, we'll need to blank. So our story begins as we all prepare to leave for the blank, where we might find what we're looking for. And then random prompts to put together. You see what I mean? Like, you throw in the Mario game, you play a couple levels, and you put it away, and then you're good for a while. Next, give your players a 15-minute break and answer the question. So you see how it's like step-by-step hand-holding, going through the minutia of things? Alright, GM Prep. You all can read this if you need it. Alright. Yeah, so this is all just location prompts. Not worrying about those. Factions are whatever you want them to be in your world. You can use these or you don't have to use these. Not going to worry about them. You can read the individual. If you want to read about Helena Karain, difficulty 12, then you can. You can draw this character. You can run this character in your own Daggerheart session. For what we're reviewing, at this point, Helena, I'm sure you're lovely. I don't care. Uncivil, I guess that question would suppose that I've played all the ones that I ever could. So that's very open. I've used D&D as as my main. That's how I got started. It's what I've run most of. However, I've moved away from a lot of D&D lately, and for some strange reason or two, and I've played through a lot of different ones. I don't know about a favorite. I don't know if there's really one where I'm yearning to go back. I guess my eyes are set for the horizon. I like learning systems. I like trying new systems. I never play the same character twice, right? I always try and mix up my my characters, race and class, or the equivalents in whatever system there is. So, yeah, it might sound like a cop-out answer. I don't have one. D&D has been my default for so long, but I've moved away from D&D for a while now, and I'm perfectly happy because I've been able to find other creative outlets. So yeah, these are random charts and things for these prompts. I'm sure that these are fine and well. I don't really... I don't need to review that right now. This is all, prompts for descriptive things. Read them, especially if you need help with that. If you need help for something that could occur somewhere, this is fine. How many books of prompts and tables like this are there? I don't want I'm skipping over this to seem like I'm negative, or that I am jaded like the local feature here is. This is just stuff that I don't need to read tables out of a book to you all. You can do this yourself. And you can even take some of these prompts and turn them into something you want for Call of Cthulhu, or Vesson, or you want to run in Vampire the Masquerade. Just swap out a couple things. Okay, yep. All sorts of stuff. All right, settlements. That I think this is going to take us through. So stuff you can go back. All right, so that was Chapter 5. Chapter 6, customizing your game. A large portion of TTRPG play includes the act of customization based on the needs and desires of your table. Personalization doesn't stop after the act of character creation. Below you'll see the beginnings of some recommendations for ways to modify Daggerheart based on your needs and desires. As Adversaries system balance is a work in progress, this section is under heavy development and might not fully reflect the current rule set and math in the previous chapters. Use at your peril. Okay, so scaling attack modifiers, scaling damage. As I guess we haven't delved into the math. It's here, and it's good that there's a system to test out. I don't have any sage insight in... Oh, wait a minute. This only goes up by 1d8 plus 2. That's terribly out of whack. This needs to be at least a 2d10 minus 1. In a group of tougher characters, the average damage needed for each threshold is higher. Add +1 to all values to get the same results in a group where the average... This is something else, too, where it's like, yeah, you can play these, but then if you have to ultimately go through and still make everything the same, then, you know, if everyone... what's the villain quote? If everyone's special, no one is. Not that GMs don't do this. This is simply a good prompt. Like, here it is. We're reading it. That is something to point out that, hey, sometimes it happens. You have a party that will absolutely roll over an encounter. And so what do? Do you modify it behind the scenes? And if so, is there a recommendation? If you want to attack to have a high variance of damage and high ceiling, consider using a smaller number of dice that have a higher number of sides to avoid flat damage bonuses. If you don't want to deal severe damage, set a maximum damage value. I get it, but it's more of this passivity of, so we're going to present you things that probably won't work and you need to go through and do a bunch of extra homework anyway. This is why I think as a player, if you want, hey, DQ, if you want to play this game, I think this game can be played by, I don't know, 10, 12-year-olds. If you want to run this game, there's a lot of parts behind the scenes that are not beginner-friendly or might scare off new GMs because of all of this language about, well, if this, then that, if this, then that, if this, then that. You get a lot of if-then statements or coulda, shoulda, wouldas instead of being presented something that works for the most part straight out of the box. Because obviously in any TTRPG you will never have fair, true balance or things along those lines. But there is a very big... there's a very big discretion between what is expected. And it does say that this is it's unbalanced in that way. I would say that this is not a new game for someone to run. But as a player, I guess this is an onboarding tool to tabletop role-playing games. 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds should have no problem playing Daggerheart. If there's a lot of behind-the-scenes modification or tweaks or, you know, as part of the game you have to slot in environmental things and actions and a lot of this other stuff, this can both seem unapproachable, unwieldy, and or lead to tremendous amounts of spectacle or power creep, which is what you saw in 3rd edition, which also took steps to quantify everything and to put everything in boxes to shuffle around. And ultimately, 4th edition took that and put more things in larger crates, but you're still playing, what's the name of that game? Suikoden? Not Sudoku. The one where you have to push boxes around in a warehouse. So there's more things in larger boxes, so the things are still there, they're just organized differently. And so I get that feeling here, whereas a GM, like, I guess this is for experienced GMs offering to younger players of chronological age or, like, mental or emotional, like, aptitude. But I don't know whether I should consider all of these as really needing to be considered, or if in the passive tone of the game, these are all just suggestions, but there are so many just suggestions that I really wish there is a second book called Just Suggestions, and that I have a very short, abbreviated, here are the rules section. You know, in the case that everyone is unique and wonderful, here's how you average everything out again so it doesn't mean anything. It, No, not Suikoden. Nah, that's the PlayStation game. The first one was nice. The second one, it's kind of like Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross. Chrono Trigger, awesome. Chrono Cross, what? Chrono Cross is meet 200 different people for 5 minutes. The game, like, no, thank you. A lot of moving parts to consider. I'm reading this. I'm reading presumably what you're reading as well. Just first, the difficulty of the poisoner drops 14 to 12, so that level 1 characters can frequently succeed against them when using their stronger traits and closer to a 50-50 chance when using their other traits. The attack modifier drops by 1 since tier 0 characters will have lower evasion. Then their damage drops from 3d8 to 2d8, still capable of dealing notable hits to a level 1 character. The Poisoner's damage threshold drop from minor 1, major 10, severe 19, to minor 1, major 5, severe 11. Poisoner is not meant to be tough, but they will still take a strong blow from a level 1 character to deal a severe injury. Mike leaves the HP and stress as is. Finally, Mike decides to drop the Grindletooth Venom Blade feature entirely for tier 0, but leaves the Fumigation as is since it does not deal damage or have a reaction roll with a difficulty. Alright, so examples of scaling. And that's it. Page 316 is the end of the playtest here. So yeah, I'm glad that there's options. In looking through this, the more I read, the more the more I think we're gonna have to just let's make a character and I guess go forward from there. Like this might be very similar to, like, if you get the player's handbook for D&D and you go through and you're like, am I supposed to remember every single spell or every single condition of, like, grappled or unconscious or something? And no, you don't have to. But I also, I'm getting that first-timer feeling of I'm really checking out of a lot of this. I'm really checking out of a lot of this stuff. especially with the way that it's written, where nothing really means anything, and anything can be anything, which it can. It's just very overtly non-committal to so much stuff in the playtest. All right, let's look at the character sheet here. Alright, so this is a part of the playtest pack, which you all can download at daggerheart.com if you would like. Yeah, it does. It very much, Brufros, this seems like a lot is relying on people just saying what they're doing, and that the mechanics aren't... that this isn't reliant on mechanics, which is nice. But the way the mechanics are presented as being so very wishy-washy and passive, and ultimately everything is modifiable, but also you don't want things to get out of boundaries, and just it's led again. It carries an irritating tone, like someone who's apologizing all the time, where it's not like they're hurting you. But you want to say, just stop apologizing, please. It's irritating. Stop. Sorry. No. You're not. You are not sorry, nor must you give me an apology. Just please stop apologizing. That's all I'm asking. And we will both live happy lives forever and ever and ever. The end. I'm sorry. No. Stop. It's that kind of like grating background irritation that is just yeah, so it's weird, Brufros, because I firmly believe that this game is meant to be very open about, look, just, you know, everyone's going by the seat of their pants and you're on for a wild cartoon adventure. But when everything is written out to agonizing amounts of options, I get this weird kind of, like, it feels like cognitive dissonance is trying to be instilled in me. Yes, this is an open game of a lot of free-form storytelling. And also, we have a rule for everything. Okay. And while everyone is different, no one is. Okay. Which do you want? Both at the same time? No? That's not how this works? I don't have cognitive dissonance. I can't abide by both conditions simultaneously. Alright, so character creation. Now in this case, because there are different thresholds, like there's some different starting packages, like choose your character in a video game, that's what you get here. Your warrior is different than the other classes, with a lot of, maybe not a lot, with several, but also major things. Careful cantrip! Hey! Good to see ya! Welcome! Brufros, instinctively, I understand it. Seeing it written out is maddening. It could very well be the same thing, but there's just something different between that kind of instinctive, that instinctiveness and seeing every minutia option counter-canceling each other out on the page. And then especially with the target being newcomers, with the predilection of reading the rules, I think that's maybe where the actual, like, the gradingness comes in. Because this is not beginner-friendly. This is what can scare away beginners. Real quick, I'm going to give a shout-out to Careful Cantrip. Who does a lot of the streamings of the Dungeons and or Dragons here on Twitch. So thank you, Careful. I super appreciate it. And Craigar's been lurking the whole time. Dun dun dun. And thank you for the 18 months. I appreciate it. All right, so let's look at the mechanics. Let's go forward from here. Your class represents what kind of character you'll be playing and will give you access to certain abilities and spells during the game. Take the character sheet specific for this class. Each class has a number of subclasses to choose from that help better define what kind of focus you'd like your character to have. Take the foundation card for your chosen subclass. And that's where, like, you have your character sheet, there's cards, and we'll scroll to those. So when you're building your character, this is something to consider, okay? Choose a heritage. Heritage is made up of both an ancestry and a community card. These two cards that establish your physical appearance and the kind of environment you grew up in. Oh my goodness! Careful Cantrip, a Careful Cantrip love raid. Well, welcome to all of you. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Glad you like it, Careful. Now, what was going on over in your corner of Twitch tonight? It's awesome to have you all here. Welcome, Raiders. OG Lava Kitten, Alaskan Mike, B-Town MC, TK Clyer, Phantom New Jersey, Bali Lolly, just chatting and doing some D&D horror. Oh yeah, Tales from the Tabletop on both sides of the screen. Well, sometimes it's good to learn what not to do in order to be a better storyteller or a better player. Well, you've come in as we're going to go through the character building process in Daggerheart. Last week we were reviewing the theme and tone of Daggerheart, and starting tonight in the workshop here at the Hero Zone, we're getting into the mechanics of it. And for any of you who, if this is your first time here, a lot of this workshop style conversation, exploration of various systems, this is who we are and what we do as an extension of a friendly local game store. So you all are absolutely welcome at the tables here to offer your opinions, your own experiences. If you have a question, you're welcome to ask. This is not me just lecturing to you all. I'm not here to tell you what to think. I just want you to think, and I want to get you looking at various systems, or even systems with which you may already have familiarity, however, can we approach it in a different way? Is there something else that you can do to put some new shine on, on an old familiar system? Or can you rise up to the challenge of not playing D&D? Have you tried Call of Cthulhu? Yes. Have you tried Vaesen?
That's 3 twitch
Oh my gosh,
Dive it
Sierra.
5 months. That seems slicker a long
Oh,
time.
it has been a while. Welcome, Sierra. You know, have you tried Vampire the Masquerade? Have you tried the Daggerheart playtest, which all of you can download and check out for yourself? Anything I have, this is not a special deal. You know, this is publicly available info, so you can make your own determination as well, versus the things that I've said about the system. Phantom says, Mothership 2nd Edition Kickstarter is now shipping. Can't wait to run some games. And what is that system about, Phantom? And for those of you who are here, Uncivil asked about a giveaway. I am currently having a giveaway for a gargantuan pre-painted Tiamat. So, if you all would like to win a $400 cat-sized mini, then I need this to go to a good home. Can someone please give this a good home? And you can do that over on our Discord, ! Discord. The entries into it are pretty straightforward. They're coloring book pages of the channel mascots going on an adventure relating to Tiamat. And so you're saying that Mothership is sci-fi horror, everything from existential horror to aliens type horror. Want to do Event Horizon type story? It can do it. Bug Hunt? Heck yeah. Sierra, I think I'm up to 10. So 2 for each head. And I hope to, by Saturday when I'm giving this mini away, so there's not a lot of time, y'all. This Saturday when I'm giving her away, hopefully I can get that up to 15. And yeah, I also do giveaways as per up there. Like, look, it's a friendly local game store. I have dice, I have books, I have all sorts of fun stuff, minis and paint stuff that can go out to you all. But yeah, Phantom, that sounds amazing. I love the Alien RPG system from Free League, and so that type of storytelling, I'm all about it. Oh, Uncivil Alpha, is you're for real? I am biggin' with excitement at Lucius joining us, yes? Yes, OG. Yep, a friendly local game store, and I try to be friendly, and I can't be local to everyone, but that's why this Twitch channel exists, so that we can sit down at the table, we can talk, we can discuss ideas, we can find commonality, or we can have awesome exploration of the differences that any of us might have, too. Because that's exactly what a store like this is supposed to do, right? Give you an awesome place to spend your time, explore ideas, play games with friends, share the things that interest you, and even challenge yourself to try new things. Yeah, I would like to dig into Dragonbane, Phantom. I'd like to dig into Dragonbane. I'll tell you what, everyone. If we're going to move into a new section about character creation, and we can discuss the mechanics and how things work, why don't I take a quick break? Because, wouldn't you know, I am all out of my hashtag not sponsored Kroger generic brand, Big K Lemon Lime Soda. Did you know that Kroger Big K Zero Sugar Lemon Lime Soda has 0 calories and is caffeine free? Kroger, what are you doing? You're leaving money on the table, my friends. I could be the brand ambassador for your generic store brand. But for those of you who are here, what I will do is I will give you an introduction to our Tiamat event. And you can see the characters begin their journey, which will last over the coloring book pages to follow. And while you all are enjoying that, I will get up and refresh myself, and we'll come back and we'll talk character creation in Daggerheart.